Good evening and welcome to the Monday, March 17th meeting of the Medfield School Committee School Committee. We've just returned from executive session where we were discussing contract negotiations. The agenda for tonight's meeting is we're going to approve some minutes. We have the high school jazz band trip to New York City to discuss, the Madelyn Grant Scholarship, the fiscal year 15 budget mailer, the superintendent's report to the committee. Then we're going to have public input and discuss some future agenda items and adjourn. So with that, the first item of business is approval of the minutes from June 17th, which Eileen usually does. I don't know.
So those were really old minutes that Kathy wanted to make sure you got. We were supposed to be in earlier, but
yeah,
we just.
I can't vote because I was absent.
Right, yeah. Maybe we'll table it now anyways till Chris gets back anyways, because we wouldn't have a quorum to approve it anyways. Did you happen to look at them, Debbie?
I didn't this time.
You're slacking.
I'm done.
Well, the next item of business is the jazz band trip to New York City.
Good evening, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here to talk about another exciting opportunity for our jazz ensemble. We have been chosen out of 15 bands throughout North America, including Canada, to compete at Lincoln Center, New York for, I guess they say that the title of Best Jazz Ensemble in North America. It's considered to be the Super Bowl of jazz ensemble competitions. It's truly an unbelievable opportunity for students to interact with some of our generations and several generations of the greatest musicians, led by Wynton Marsalis. This is a program that is put on for free for the bands that are chosen from around America. The top 15 bands just need to get there and supply their own lodging, and this weekend full of master classes and performances and clinics with these fantastic musicians is all done gratis by the Lincoln Center Foundation. We're excited that we're one of 3 bands from the Northeast to get in, along with one other Massachusetts school and one group from New Jersey. I'm particularly proud of the group getting in this year. We've been in 3 prior years, 2005, 2008, and 2012. But since our last time, they've opened up the schools, or not schools, to non-schools. So we're competing with public schools that go up to 5,000 students, but also groups that are not schools at all. They're just like college prep groups that we're competing against. So very proud of our students to be able to compete. It's not all about competition, but to perform at a level that is at the highest level that this country has to offer in jazz. So I'm looking for your approval for our trip in May. It would be from May 7th to May 10th. We'd be using a busing company which we've used on several occasions. This is a trip that is totally student funded. We're going to be doing some fundraising, everything from students teaching private lessons for younger students at a discounted rate to raise some money and donating that, to a swing dance which we're going to be putting together. Our jazz night will help raise some money, and we've asked some area foundations for some grant money to help with some student scholarships or students in need. But besides that, nothing will be from our Medfield budget, and we're just asking for your permission to attend this festival.
Any comments? I mean, we've done a great job with this pretty much every time you come before us with it, so I think it's just a great thing, and we appreciate all the work you put into putting that kind of enthusiasm into the program for us here. So with that, if there's no comments, then we'll have a motion to approve the jazz band trip to New York.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It'll be webcast, so I can get you the information.
Oh, that would be nice,
And,
yeah.
you can watch us at Lincoln Center.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. And I commented to Doug earlier today how great the band was at town meeting. I mean, they were just unbelievable. That hour, that half hour they played before town meeting starts is just fantastic. So he just, again, does a great job. So thank you, Doug.
Next item of business is the Madelyn Grant Scholarship.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the second, there are two students that won this last year, and this is the formality that you folks have to vote to release the money. And then as soon as, if you do approve this, then it will go downstairs tomorrow morning, and then the student, Alix Kramer, can get the funds. So I would ask that you approve that. I think everything is in your packet that explains that.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Alex is doing a great job.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
And then the next is an old business item, is the budget mailer.
So in your packet was the cover of the budget mailer, and the other parts, I just have copies for you here with the actual cover. So very similar setup to what you folks have had in the past. The first page with the explanation and then all the data that you usually have in there. One area that I'd like to just discuss is the part where it says how are our schools performing. And I'd like to just make a suggestion that, and again, it's totally up to you, if we could do something around do you know or did you know? And that might be a way of incorporating all 5 schools. If you notice the mailer that you have there, that is 7 bullet points on the high school. So I think there's a lot of good things going on district-wide, and that would give us an opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the other, some of the good things that are happening district-wide, and not just focus just on one school. So that would be something that I would suggest that if we wanted to revise that piece, we could.
For this year or for?
For this year. We have some, I have some blurbs about each school that we could insert and certainly send off to you.
I mean, what would you do, take some of these out and?
Right, so some of them would stay,
Yeah, kind of.
some of them would stay,
Yeah,
but
some of them,
also,
yeah.
you know, some of them would come out and just update, some of the data is old.
It is old, I was
You
gonna
know,
say,
so
they've
we
been
could
there a
just,
few
we could
years,
update some of that.
Yeah,
Charlie mentioned today that he should have the capital money, excuse me, the capital outlay appropriations by the end of this week, so we can update that as well, that's missing in it. So there's a couple of things that still need to be updated before it goes out. But I know in the past, have you done this through email, or have you done it at the meeting, or, because I think it's one of these things that if you have a couple of members of the committee look at it, I don't think it's something that has to be formally voted on as a committee, but I could be wrong.
I don't think we voted on it.
No.
Okay.
The budget one?
Well,
I think we probably have, but
we've had to
we have
approve
also
it.
approved it subject to,
revision.
Revisions,
Yeah.
okay.
But so,
mostly because I can't help myself and get a pen out, but.
right, so he's the man.
That's why I sent you the cover
Yeah.
before the weekend, because I heard that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was born on all weekend. It's no good to me.
So does that sound like something we
Yeah,
would,
so do you want to approve it subject to final review by Chris?
you could do that?
Yeah, maybe the budget subcommittee.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's going off to the printer in a week and a half or so, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so it gives us some time.
So moved.
Great.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that's great.
Superintendent's report to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off is the FY15 budget update. As you know, tomorrow we're scheduled to appear in front of the warrant committee, and they're going to make their recommendations. I think that Chris and Eileen and I had a pretty positive meeting in front of the warrant committee a few weeks ago. If you remember, we have cut our budget over $300,000 in the last month and a half or 2 months. The target number that the town was looking for, if you remember in the presentations, was 2.5%, and we have that down at 2.94%. And you know, I think we've done a real good job getting the number down close to what the town needs, but certainly not at that level. So we'll see what tomorrow will bring from the warrant committee, what their recommendations will be at that point.
But as we, so the, as I think we all saw last week, that's the Senate and the House both approved budgets, I believe, both the Senate and the House approved budgets, which increased Chapter 70 funding, which will help, I think, close the gap that we might have, which is really fairly small at this stage. And I think a lot of districts around us are asking for 4% plus. And so I think it's been a great effort, and tribute to you, Dr. Marsden, for getting that budget down to where it's something that we all feel very comfortable, that it kind of reflects the tradition that we've had of pretty lean and putting the money where it counts sort of approach to budgeting. So I think we're all pretty supportive of what we see tomorrow, or how you proceed with that tomorrow with Chris and Eileen.
Great, thank you.
Thank Chris and Eileen too for working on all that.
Absolutely. I think if the Chapter 70 money does come through, I think that the governor's budget that came out had $25 per student additional money in there. And, there are talk of $50 per student, which would get over $130,000 additional money for us for FY15, which would certainly help out, which is essentially the gap we're looking at right now is about $130,000. So that'd be great. In terms of circuit breaker, which helps us in our special education costs, we have that budgeted right now for 60% reimbursement, and we haven't heard any numbers on that. But that's been fairly positive, what's coming out of the state. Remember, that's been from 42 to 72% in the last 5 years, so we don't know where it is. It's kind of a moving target. But this past year was closer to the 72, it was up around 70. So we have that budgeted at 60, so that's a little bit less than that, so we'll see how that pans out. But that will be a big help in our direction as well with reimbursement for special education costs. So we'll see. And I'll keep you updated as soon as we hear tomorrow what the recommendations for the work committee.
Any comments on the budget?
I just had a question about enrollment. What do we end up doing about the oversubscription to full-day kindergarten? Or is that still up in the air?
It's my next item, I'll go right into it.
I should have seen that on the...
Perfect. Great segue. Appreciate that. So we have 110 students registered for full-day kindergarten. Originally had 100 slots there. We have rented out space to the Educational Collaborative, a classroom that they've used for their special education programs. They have pulled out. They're actually buying property in Walpole and taking all their programs and putting them in a separate building in Walpole. So that freed up a classroom for us. So what that allowed us to do is have one additional class of full-day kindergarten, so 6 instead of 5, so that everyone that did put in for it on that one day, 110, would be in full-day kindergarten. We have 27 students that are scheduled for half-day kindergarten right now. And we still have about 15 or 16 outstanding students that haven't registered yet. So there are 9 slots, 10 slots for full-day kindergarten. It's actually, we have someone on hold, really have 111. 9 slots for full-day kindergarten open, and then additional slots for half-day as well. So that's what happened with that. There was no lottery needed for that.
Great.
That's awesome.
The projected kindergarten enrollment for next year is...
137.
The one in here is 133, but the numbers you just gave add up closer to 160.
No, we have 110, 111 full day, and 27 for half day.
Or didn't you say there were about 16 that hadn't yet registered that you expected?
17, I think. Let me just pull it out here. I'm sorry, 7. 7 on the census, not 17. I apologize. So 7 that are on the census who have not yet responded to our inquiries. So what that looks like with full-day kindergarten right now is 4 classes of 18 and 2 of 19, if there are no other students in there, which is great numbers for full-day kindergarten. And then we need to look at the AM and PM and split those numbers up as well, so that we'll have low numbers in there as well. We're not going to have a half-day program with 25 kids in it. It's just not going to happen. So we want to keep that consistent. So if we can be between 18 and 21 in the kindergarten classes, we go really well there. I don't know if you guys have heard anything at all in the community about it, but I've gotten some really positive emails from people regarding full-day kindergarten. I think that the fact that we added that additional class took a lot of stress off, because parents were then wondering, okay, I put the money in now, am I going to lose the lottery? Am I going to be one of the 10 that loses the lottery? So it was at registration, we had them give us a check for $350, which is going to be their June 15 tuition. So we collected $38,500 on the first day.
How is the rest of the tuition being paid
Monthly,
monthly?
yes, $350 a month. So we looked at a couple different ways. In my former district, we had a third party that did all of the invoicing. So they would send out the invoice, and we could do it a few ways. You could pay by credit card, you could pay by check, or you could have automatic debit taken out of your account. So we gave parents 3 options there. I've been talking with that company to see if maybe we can do that, because when you start to get all this revenue, we're talking about $300,000 of revenue. That's a lot of checks to be processed in the business office, so we're looking at that third party, which would probably cost us about $3 to $5 per student to run. But I think it's worth it in terms of the time on task for employees that are already there. So I'll let you know how that goes and whether or not we're going to contract with them. Any questions on that? Okay. Memorial principal search update, and Mary Ann, please jump in at any point. We had 46 folks apply. We narrowed that down to 20, and then the committee of 14 people narrowed that down to 6 for interviews this week. So we have interviews tomorrow and Thursday. One of the candidates dropped out, so it's 5 people that are going to be interviewed, 3 tomorrow night and 2 on Thursday. And then the role of that committee of 14 would be to send 3 candidates to me, and then I'll be doing interviewing, site visits, and then bringing the candidates into Memorial School and have them meet the kids, meet the teachers, and all that. So, Mary Ann, I don't know if you want to jump in at all, but.
Yeah, it looks great. It's a great committee, diverse as far as who they represent in the community. So, between teachers and parents, and so it's a good group. I'm sure we'll get someone out of there. A lot of very qualified candidates. So,
Was a strong pool?
I don't know if I would say the whole pool was strong, but I
Okay.
think out of the numbers that we picked, I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say that there are some strong candidates.
Good.
And right now, we're competing with Westwood, who has a K-3 school opening at the same time. So I think we have some of the similar candidates in both camps there. So
Did the candidate who withdrew go take another job?
actually retired,
Oh, really?
which was interesting because someone on the committee had Googled the pics that she had, and it came up. So she came to the meeting, and after we decided who the 6 people were, she said, "I just want to share with the group that I Googled all the candidates, and there's an article in yesterday's paper in the town this person works in saying that she's retiring." So we kept her on the list anyway, and made the phone call and talked to her last week, and she had originally thought about going to a different district, but then she decided that she was going to retire. So,
Okay.
but she was a very strong candidate. I think she had great credentials and was definitely on our short list.
So that means you have 5, or?
So we had 5.
Yeah.
We had 5.
I know that comes out of time, so thank you. Was it you?
Eileen and I, right, are the school committee reps.
Thank you.
It's just a really nice group. We have
Yeah.
4 parents, 2 school committee, 4 teachers, 3 administrators, and chief meeting. So it's great. It's just a good mix of people that come from very different perspectives, and it's working very well together. So.
We're going to swap that out and have Chief Kingsbury do it one of these days.
Well, the chief decided that he is going to wear his uniform for the interview, so that was the
Oh,
question.
that was
funny,
the
yeah.
He is going to wear
Yeah,
it.
we said.
He likes the dinner.
Yeah, we have the
Always
dinner.
wants to know when this
Kim K was in
Right.
charge of the dinner. We'll feed him. Oh, Francine is in charge of the dinner.
Francine took care of that,
Feed Bob.
absolutely. You'll be eating well tomorrow night.
Right.
Any questions on that? Any other questions? So the Goldin Foundation for Excellence Education, we're very excited that 2 of our staff members are receiving this award this year. I think in your packet you had the announcement. That is going to be at Medfield High School on Thursday, April 10th. And we have Linda Lohan and Nat Vaughn are going to be getting awards for educational excellence. So we're very excited about that. 6 educators in the tech area, the education collaborative area, and 2 out of the 6 are from our district. So we're very proud of that, and we're looking forward to having the ceremony here in Medfield. So
Is this the first time we've had it? I don't remember hearing about this in the past.
it was hosted here, I want to say 4 years ago.
And did we have somebody, did we?
We did. I'm not sure who won last year, but I know we had someone that year 4 years ago. I think they try to rotate
Mhm.
what district hosts it, but I
Yeah.
know that I'll have to look. I can get you the list of who has won in the past. So we're excited about that, and certainly two great folks to win that, so
Yes.
very, very deserving. We're happy to have them.
It's April 10th.
April 10th, it's a Thursday evening at 7, and certainly all invited. The dessert reception at 7, and then there'll be a panel presentation, so that each award winner will just talk a little bit about, why they got the award and what they do in their daily work to get the recognition. So looking forward to it. On that same line with district recognition, I have a few things. Just got an email last week on Friday that the Boston Business Journal has listed us as one of the top 25 school districts in the state of Massachusetts, which is great, number 17. And the nice thing about this is that they use the indicators of MCAS scores 3 through 10, which is great. All of our grades are in there. And they ranked us statewide in MCAS. SAT cumulative score, SAT statewide rank, PSAT, the junior year score test, and then the PSAT statewide rank. So just real excited about that. It certainly shows the hard work of our students and teachers, and I haven't really got anything out to the teachers yet, but I'm going to send them an email tomorrow just to let them know and thank them for their hard work. And just, we'll put it on our website as well. So certainly when you look at this and you look at some of the other rankings that come out, because they just, every publication has their rankings, it's interesting to see where districts fall. We could be at one number on one ranking and a different one on the other, and there's some consistencies, but certainly in this one we're real pleased about it. So very happy.
And a lot of times in those, the spread isn't very far.
Right.
If you look at it, the numbers are very, very close to each other.
What I liked about the Boston Business Journal, what they did is they excluded charter schools. They took charter schools out of it, and what the Boston Globe doesn't do on their rankings is they include charter schools in that. So every year there's a charter school number 1 in MCAS, and 27 kids take the test. So it really skews the data a little bit, and they took charter schools and trade schools out of that, so it was just K-12 districts, which was nice. A nice way to do it. You want to know number 1 is?
No.
The beginning of W?
Lexington.
Oh.
It's funny because the Boston Magazine one includes in its ranking per pupil expenditure.
Right.
In other words, the idea being, I guess, if you spend more money, you're a better school system.
Yeah.
So
We're
it's-
spending the lowest on this list, by the way.
Yeah.
Out of 25, we're spending the lowest. Not even close. So that's great. We have, on Wednesday night, we have a presentation, The Power of Music, that is presented by the Medfield Employers and Merchants Association. It's going to be at the high school at 7 o'clock. It's Matt Savage, who's a young man who has autism and does some incredible music and performances and performs all over the country. So it's going to be a great event. I'm going to be doing the opening, and Doug was just here as the master of ceremony, so we're really excited about it, and we want folks to come out and take a look at our jazz band will be playing, the marimba band will be playing, and there'll also be 2 students from the Boston Conservatory who'll be playing with Matt as well. So it's going to be an exciting night, and I want to thank Memo for paying for that for us. The event partners are also a CPAC, the high school PTO, CSA, and the coalition. So really thankful for this interesting event, and I think it's generated a lot of buzz around town. I think this should be a great event for everyone. So I want to thank them for that. And then lastly, two heartbreaking stories. First, girls basketball had a lost last week in Worcester against the Neshoba, and went to overtime, and the girls just played real well and lost by 2. So I know they were devastated, but I know Coach Nickerson and the girls just did a great job and a wonderful season. And of course, last night our hockey team went to the state finals at the Garden and lost a wonderful, great high school hockey game, 2-1 to Beverly. Probably one of the best. I was mentioning it to Tim earlier. Probably one of the best high school games I've ever seen. Just one of those games. It was a shame for someone to lose because it was just played so well. So just want to thank them for all their effort and another great season this year in winter sports. So wonderful. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Great. So any public input from Chris and Mary Ann? Debbie, you can hold your public input for a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. Jim, any public?
No, sir.
This is your last
This is your last chance.
You can come to any meeting you want.
12 years.
That's so funny. The only thing the fifth grade talent show was last Friday night. A ton of work went into that for the kids, the teachers that get up early and meet those kids every day at 7:15. It was great. It was very fun to watch. And the boys hockey game, of course, last night. We went to the game the week before down the Cape. And I know they had to be so disappointed, but when little kids see them play, even when they lose, it's an amazing experience to see, to have little kids see that kind of play and how hard they work and how much they put into it. So they really should be extremely proud of themselves.
Absolutely.
It was both two great games, the one down the Cape and then the one at the Garden last night.
Yeah, really, the one last night, I didn't go to the Cape one, but was the, the sportsmanship amongst the two teams. Was really, it was a hard game, but it wasn't dirty. There was very few penalties, and it was just a well-played game.
Yeah, that's what both my husband and I commented, because we have a son that plays hockey and a daughter who wants to play hockey, so it was great for them to see that just really good hockey, that no one had to be dirty, and the passing and the precision and the skating, that it was really about the game and not about being dirty, or it was really nice for young people to look up to that, so I appreciate that.
Just also a big compliment to all the Medfield kids who were at the game last night. Just,
Yes,
again, well-behaved and just did a great job. Just a pleasure to be at any event, anywhere. They're just great kids, so.
We were really surprised by that, because obviously it's been a long time since we've been at high school sports, and even down the Cape, and we were sitting right with the high school kids, and we couldn't believe how well behaved and how good they were. Even at the Garden, when it's a little bit more spread out, I was shocked by how sportsmanlike and how well behaved people were.
Great group of kids.
Yeah.
JJ, did you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I was going to say something about the hockey game, but I think we've already covered that. I know the fashion show for the seniors was Saturday. I heard it was great. I personally didn't go, but my mom and my sister did this, and it was very well done. Not a senior, so I wasn't too involved with it, but yeah.
I did go. It was really well done. It always amazes me how, because I went last year, of course, with Caitlin and Zach, and just how well poised those kids are when they do that. They did a great job. And congratulations and appreciation to Rose O'Reilly and, shouldn't say the other, I'm not sure who the other woman is, but I know Rose pretty well. I mean, they've been working on that for 6 years, they do that, so.
That's a lot of
The
work.
new people coming into it. Yeah. Anything else?
Nothing other than to echo what you're about to say.
All right. Well, then, we're going to go up to this podium. Debbie, here's your moment.
It's my moment to shine.
Why don't you guys come up too?
Then the whole town will know how stupid I was. It's going to be preserved for posterity.
So, it's been 11 years, or 12 years, 12 years that Debbie's been on the school committee, and I remember because she joined when I was on the building committee. And, in those 12 years, I think we've seen a lot of changes in Medfield, and we've had a great school committees through the years, I think, that have worked well together with administration to do a great job. And Debbie is certainly at the top of the list in her, ability to work effectively in the role as a school committee person. And one of the things that speaking for me, that I've seen that, she obviously brings a lot of enthusiasm to the role, or has over the years, but it's the professionalism that you bring. You always come prepared. Don't start crying. You always come prepared. You're very, when you speak with knowledge, and you never say something that isn't worth saying. So it's not often you get that, I think, in the role. So I think it's you coming from work all the time, and you've maintained that kind of professionalism in your role here. I think it's just been very impressive, and prepared. Just always knows what's happening, and it's a great example. And for whoever your replacement is to follow, you've just been wonderful to have to sort of show that kind of an example for it. So with that, we do provide you with this lovely plaque that I think Francine and Kathy had helped put together. So I'll read it to the television audience anyways. This is presented to Deborah M. Noches for 12 years of dedicated service to the children and community of the Medfield Public Schools. With deep appreciation, Medfield School Committee, March 17th, 2014.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, Jim, why don't you come on up?
No.
No. Nope. Can you look this way one more time? Great, thank you.
That's beautiful, thank
I
you
don't know
very
if
much.
you have anything you want to add to it?
Hugs. I don't know about you.
No, you've been a great friend and mentor, and we should also, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank that.
Yes.
Because 12 years is a long time to dedicate to anything, and these past few years in particular, I mean, I've only been here 4 or so, but they haven't been easy for Deb when she was in a leadership role, when things turned to be sort of most stressful and time consuming. There's a lot to ask of her and in particular her family. We appreciate the time she's taken from you for us.
Well, I have to say that this is hard. This is hard for me. It's certainly bittersweet. I'm amazed at how quickly I feel like I've become disconnected from our daughter graduating last spring. So I feel like it's time now for somebody else who's really involved in the district, because it's really important that you're involved to be making the decisions that have to be made. And yet there's a side of me that wishes I could just keep doing this, but I don't think I would be giving it the service that it deserves. I think anybody who knows me and over the years, my favorite event of the year is graduation. It just to me that culminates everything about why we do what we're doing. And in those years that were tough years, with budget years and issues that have come up, when you sit at graduation, you just see it after 12 years of these students, how wonderful they are, and they're so prepared and so excited and so ready to go. And we've done that, the district has done that. And I don't know if these students know how fortunate they are. Probably later in life they will realize how fortunate they are to have gone to school here and been in a town like Medfield. So that makes it all worthwhile. I think whoever is coming in next will have this is a great committee. I mean, I've sat on a lot of committees, we've had great committees, but I think this committee is very committed and bonded and works really well together. Jeff, it's wonderful having you here.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. You've got a good head start here and have really dug in, and you're really ready to, I think, take this district forward.
Thank you.
So thank you. This is really, really nice. Thank you so much. And I'll be thinking about you on Monday nights.
We're always looking for public input. I'm never getting it.
Don't be afraid to bring Jim either. I think in the 12 years that Debbie's been on this committee, have you been here?
One time. One other time.
I can't say that.
I have to say that's usually because I'm in.
It's referenced since
cleaning up
Chris
the
is gone.
dishes, we've had dinner and I'm running back out, and in the younger years it was the kid, taking care of the kids and going to the events. So it's, my family has been very supportive of this. So thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that's public input. So some of the future agenda items that we're talking about fiscal year, the budget update, obviously, we're going to talk about the teacher evaluation process in upcoming meetings. Superintendent Marsden is going to do an entry plan update, and then we do the, is that the end of the year we do the school?
School improvement
Okay,
plans.
yeah.
So we'll do those
Yeah, right,
May and June.
Right, we do those at the
Right.
end of the year, school
Right.
improvement plans. With that, if there's nothing else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
I'm Roberta Lynch, and you're watching Medfield.tv.